Congresswoman Pramila Jayapal of our state is under fire for alleged anti-Semitic remarks. So she was at an event. She was on this panel, and topic of Israel and Palestine, and there were some pro-Palestine protesters in the room who were interrupting the event and interrupting another panelist from speaking. So Congresswoman Jayapal, again, she's a chair of the Progressive Caucus. She's a congresswoman for the Seattle area, essentially. She stands up and I think makes an effort to kind of quell the crowd, but in doing so, she said something quite controversial. Here it is.
I'll just leave. Maybe I should just walk off.
Guys, can I say something? Can I say something as somebody that's been in the streets and has participated in a lot of demonstrations? I think I want you to know that we have been fighting to make it clear that Israel is a racist state, that the Palestinian people deserve self-determination and autonomy.
The comment that she's been criticized for is Israel is a racist state. So to their credit, House leadership put out a statement pretty quickly saying the opposite. It's a joint House Democratic leadership statement on the relationship between the United States and Israel. It starts by saying Israel is not a racist state. As a Jewish and democratic nation, Israel was founded 75 years ago on the principle of complete equality of social and political rights for all of its citizens, irrespective of religion, race, or sex, as codified in its Declaration of Independence. Now, I give them credit for coming out and saying that very clearly. They did not mention or condemn Congresswoman Pramila Jayapal in the statement, so I think it could have gone further to mention her specifically. They did not do that, but I do give them credit for immediately countering the comments of someone of their own political party. For her part, because this took off really quick, and there was a lot of anger on both sides, frankly, about what the Congresswoman said. So she puts out this lengthy statement. I'm not going to read the whole thing for you, but I'll read the first part of it. She said, "At a conference, I attempted to diffuse a tense situation during a panel where fellow members of Congress were being protested. Words do matter, and so it's important that I clarify my statement. I do not believe the idea of Israel as a nation is racist. I do, however, believe that Netanyahu's extreme right-wing government has engaged in discriminatory and outright racist policies, da-da-da." So she basically, I mean, it's not an apology. She certainly didn't apologize. And she wrote this long statement that, to me, just furthers the comment that she made that she's now under fire for. So I reached out to our friend Ari Hoffman. He's like, "Thanks for thinking of me." I'm like, "Ari, you're one of the only Jewish radio hosts that I know." So I had to have him come in from he talks a lot about these issues, and I wanted to have him on to sort of try to paint a clear picture of why people on both sides, frankly, are so upset by the Congresswoman's remarks. And so Ari Hoffman with KVI was nice enough to chat with us about that very issue. Ari Hoffman, welcome back to Undivided.
Always a pleasure, Brandi. How you doing?
I'm doing well. So explain to people why it is so problematic and divisive for a member of Congress to say what the Congresswoman said.
So there's no problem with anybody criticizing another government. We do it all the time. What do you and I do for a living? We criticize our own government, right? There's nothing wrong with that. The problem is when you make falsehoods, when you make comparisons that just aren't there. So, for example, Pramila Jayapal, her parents are from Malaysia. She's from India, Singapore, and a few other countries. I looked up the human rights records of all those countries. And then I looked up her Twitter account, and I never hear her say anything about the fact that those countries have enormous human rights abuses. But yet her Twitter account is filled with anti-Israel rhetoric, things that aren't even true. If you want to criticize something, criticize things that are true. Instead, she just makes stuff up. And then the worst part is in this apology she issued. What does she do? She tries to defend what she said by comparing it to the Holocaust. Lady, stay in your lane, okay? What happened with the Palestinians and the Israelis is nothing compared to 6 million Jews being shoved into ovens in concentration camps. You want to draw a comparison with that? How about we talk about the Uyghur Muslims? How about we talk about what's going on in China? But she doesn't talk about that. She is single focused on the Jewish state of Israel. And let's remember, there's only one Jewish state in the entire world. It's the size of New Jersey. It has 7 million people living there. It has Jews and Arabs living side by side, Christians living side by side. You have Arabs can vote. Arabs can serve in the IDF. Arabs are in the Knesset, which is their version of Congress. Arabs are Supreme Court justices. So to say it's a racist country is beyond ridiculous.
What do you think drives those comments that a lot of people would consider anti-Semitic? Is it anti-Semitism or is it something political?
I think it's both. I think it's really both at this point. I mean, you hear Pramila Jayapal regularly bash on Israel, Cori Bush, AOC, Ilhan Omar, Rashida Tlaib, all of them. It's constant. And then they say, oh, we're not anti-Semitic. Well, all you're doing is spewing this anti-Semitic garbage. If I spent all day on my radio show spewing things against any minority group, what would they say about me? I don't do that. This is what they do nonstop. But on top of that, it's an easy political punching bag for them. It wins them points with the far, far left, who are very, very anti-Israel. And they can't wrap their heads around Israel, a country where they want it to be this human rights violator. It seems like they want it to be that. It doesn't seem like they want to fix it. And yet this is a country where LGBTQ plus IA have all the rights under the sun. They have pride parades in Tel Aviv. They have them in the area surrounding Jerusalem. And yet they're going after Israel on a regular basis. At what point do you say, okay, it's not just rhetoric, this is actually how they feel?
Do you give credit to House leadership for putting out a statement pretty quickly and taking a position against what she said?
Yes and no. So they didn't call her out by name in their thing. They didn't say that. And this seems like a repeat of what happened with Nancy Pelosi and Ilhan Omar. Don't forget when Ilhan Omar made those comments, it's all about the Benjamins, referencing Jews and money. They didn't actually condemn her. What they did was they did this nothing statement, and then they passed this nothing resolution, which condemned all different kinds and forms of hate and left out a whole bunch of others in the process. So it's nice that they're trying, but at the same time, the Democrats know they have a hard problem with their hard left flank, where you're seeing more and more of this anti-Semitic, anti-Israel rhetoric coming from the progressive left.
You know, I'll end here. Congresswoman Jayapal, she put out this lengthy, and I don't see it as an apology. I mean, it was sort of just reinforcing the position of what she said. Do you think that what she said was simply her trying to quell the crowd? Or do you think that she said exactly what she believes?
You and I do a lot of speaking engagements, Brandi. You know, sometimes you can do that one-liner where you get the applause, you get the cheering, you get the support. I mean, you and I did that forum a while back, which was for, I believe, the Washington Republicans. I knew there were 2 or 3 lines I could say there that would get everybody cheering. You know that when you speak at these events. She said what she knew would get the applause. That's what she did. She's got a whole bunch of anti-Israel, pro-Palestinian activists. If you say Israel's a racist state, you're going to get the applause, whether it's true, whether it's untrue. And that's exactly what she did.
Yeah. Is there anything she can do in your mind to make up for it?
Look at her Twitter account. Look at her social media. This is not a one-off incident. This is who she is. I don't know how you come back from this. And I got to say, I know that synagogues in her district right now, because the majority of synagogues in Seattle are in her district, are right now working out condemnations and a few other things going on. I don't know how she really comes back from this with the Jewish community, but unfortunately, the Jewish community is so fractured that a large amount of the Jews are actually on the progressive side, and they're going to say, yeah, okay, we're with you no matter what you say.
All right, Ari Hoffman, host of the Ari Hoffman Show on 570 KVI. We appreciate it as always.
Always a pleasure, Brandi.